for joining me again so that we can review all of the information from our last meeting. Again, we'll begin our meeting with our norms. Be on time and prepared, be present and engaged, be student and solution oriented, be open-minded and respectful of others, be respectful of everyone's time, and remember the focus is always student driven. So some of the things that we discussed as far as strategies go in our last meeting were that we would talk to our teachers about equity. We would talk to them about, cultural awareness of student behaviors and the conscious discipline. As I walked into a bunch of classrooms, I saw that there were a lot of safe spaces that were created by teachers. There were like bean bags, there were posters like come and relax, take your space. So I thought that that was really neat that they had all created so many safe spaces. And when I talked to students, they all knew what it was there for. Mm-hmm. And then we also talked about talking about all of that at our staff meetings, which we did, and I thought that teachers were pretty open-minded to it. What were some things that you guys found or that teachers brought back to you or that you guys observed yourselves within everything that we discussed within our strategies?
I've noticed that on a few teachers' doors, they have the conscious discipline, like making connection first thing in the morning, so the student will choose how they want to make that connection. And I think that really helps the students, especially with trauma, which I think this population that we looked at, after looking at the students that are in these groups, that's probably what's going on. And so making that connection first thing in the morning, making that eye contact, that verbal, that physical connection, I think is really important. So I'd like to see more teachers maybe try to do that. Maybe for next year, that's a goal that we can have, is just more teachers having that like face-to-face connection first thing in the morning.
Yeah, a lot along with those lines. Our last SSTs, we've been really tapping into those students who are trauma responses, and a lot of the recommendations that we heard from our behavior specialists were like class jobs, and we often like take them from granted, but that's something that makes them feel really good about themselves and included in the class. So I am starting to see teachers do that more.
And it incentivizes them to want to continue to work and build that relationship with the teacher in the classroom.
One thing that I also have noticed in the office is that with this specific population, when the students are being sent to us, a lot of it is trauma-based responses. So I know that like we've had quite a few students where it might just be that they had a trigger in the classroom because they were being asked to be academically pushed. And that was like a stressor for them. And so their response was like really, and so we have to take the time to, decrease those behaviors. Or on the playground, if they feel like something is threatening to them. That's where I'm seeing it the most, is like in the unstructured settings where they're feeling like there might be a threat, even if it's just in a competitive setting. And so I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but that's where I'm seeing it the most. That's coming up to the office. And I really am, like you said, Ms. Desetti, I'm having to really engage in trauma-informed practices to re-regulate the kids when they're coming in, because they truly are triggered. And I'm wondering if that is more so the issue than it is any kind of like cultural, like lack of cultural awareness, because I feel like the teachers do a pretty good job with what I've observed. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
If we were to really name each student that we have in our minds, I think we could all agree that they are students who have experienced trauma, and a lot of their behaviors are immature because they have regressed emotionally, and so that makes it hard for them to produce grade level anything, including social interactions.
Maybe a little more PD on like fight, flight, or freeze, because maybe teachers are thinking that they're not doing the work, but maybe they're frozen, or the fight or flight. So maybe I think continued conversations at staff meetings for trauma-informed practices would be helpful.
I definitely agree.